Hello, all you beautiful drywallers out there in drywall land, and welcome to a passionate episode of the Drywall Podcast. I'm your host, once again, Nick Harmon. With us today, we have our first guest from Italy, Simone Cecchin. Simone is the managing director of a new company called Comay, an exceptional tool company who's been around since 1964, but recently they are making a surge onto the scene in North America. We discuss their meager beginnings, and even though they weren't making trowels at the very start, the passion was still evident.
And the only people who could inherit were two brothers, but they were two priests, and one sister who was a nun. So it's quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, they were not like common priests. One was like a university teacher in psychology, and the other one was an archbishop. So they were quite valued priests. And they did a smart choice because in this region, when the boss passed away, 99% the company closed.
We talk a lot about the history of Comay and how Simone rose the ranks from a mere warehouse guy to managing director, and why traveling is so important in connecting with your customer. We also talk a lot about the different metals and why buying an expensive trowel might just be the best route. It may have a special announcement about Fresco Harmony and Comay also at the end of this episode, so you're going to want to listen to the whole thing. Where did I leave my script? Where could it be? Nick, you don't need a script, because what you have to say is honest and from the heart. Here we go. Shout out to Tape Tech for sponsoring the month of June on the Drywall Podcast. We are going to be smoothing out your world a little bit with some help from our friends at Tape Tech and maybe a couple of badass skimming blades. All right, let's talk finishing. If you're out there chasing that perfect finish, or just looking to make wipe downs faster, cleaner, and smoother, this one is for you. We're diving into the Tape Tech Premium Finishing Knives. These knives are built for precision and engineered for comfort. We're talking Inox German stainless steel. So the blade's got that perfect flex, but never loses its edge, whether you're working with a 7-inch or pushing a monster 48-inch skimming blades. These are the premium finishing knives, giving the finishers the ultimate control, reach, and value. Would you like to learn more? Head over to tapetech.com. That's tapetech with no hyphen.com. Or check out their social media pages for more information, as they are constantly spotlighting their arsenal of tools over there. Also, check out my episode with Mark Wilson, if you haven't yet, of Tape Tech and Ames on episode 125 of the Drywall Podcast. It's good, you'll like it, etc. But for now, let's head over to the Italy to talk to the Simone Cecchin about the Comay tools. It's so nice. Let's get into it.
Morning, Nick.
Good morning. I realized I was looking at your Facebook page, looking at some of your posts, and I realized you're younger than me.
I'm 79. I'm from the 79.
Yep, I'm 76.
Huh. Okay.
Damn it.
But you look in shape anyway.
You do too, buddy. How do you keep in shape?
I swim, and which is good because I'm suffering like back pain. So this is helping me a lot with my back pain. And in early morning, whenever I can, like 2 or 3 times a week, I do some jogging.
Okay, you like to jog.
Yeah, I like to jog, and I try to have like a reasonable diet.
Smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying, but considering that I'm I'm traveling a lot, this is quite
Uh,
difficult for me. So usually when I come down, when I come back to my place, I need to get rid of some weights.
yes. Yeah. Same. When I travel, it's really hard to eat well. Uh,
Yeah, but in New Mexico, mostly it's like Mexican, and Mexican diet is quite good. It's not that fat, I believe, right?
mm,
You
well,
disagree?
you get the influence of the United States, which is not, I don't think is conscious comparatively to the rest of the world when it comes to healthy eating. Bigger portions, more bad stuff in the food, less regulations around food quality.
Yeah, true. I remember last time I was there, like I did like a drive-through at McDonald's, and they told me with zero point 0.5 more, I could have like a tank of Coke. I didn't have space where I put the can on the car. It was something like this, like 2 liters.
Yeah, yeah,
Come on, guys.
they don't make cup holders that big.
Yeah, and
That's funny.
I just came back like a few days ago from Australia, and I was expecting to be like a sort of America in terms of lifestyle, and I found it really different because fast food are not every 5 yards. You find one here, one there, whereas when I drive in the US, it's all food. Food and nails. Nail saloon everywhere.
Nails. We're overweight, so we have to make up for it with nice hands, obviously. I went through a period where I had a nutritionist for 2 years, and that was very enlightening. I thought I ate well, but I eat much better now. And then play soccer.
But it's crazy
Okay.
because a lot of things are like everything is taking place in the US. So we have the FIFA. We are gonna have the Olympic coming in years. Everything is there.
Interesting.
Stack of events. Plus, you know, Trump is on the news every day for anything, every day. So he's taking control. Yesterday, I've seen that he's gonna launch his personal Trump mobile. 499 bucks, completely made in the US.
I've not heard that one.
Yeah, they showed last night just to see that you are able, guys, to make microchips in the US.
Let's change the subject, Simone.
It's fun. I mean, it's
Let's.
fun. That man is real fun.
Yeah, yeah, he's great for the news, for sure. Simone
Check
Ketchen.
in. Check in.
Check in.
Yeah.
So the CE makes a ch
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
Chicken.
Check. Yeah.
Check in with Comey Tools out of Gallera, Gallera,
Yeah. Galliera.
Gallera Veneta,
Veneta. Yeah.
Veneta,
Veneta means
Italy.
Venetian. Yeah. Italy. Yeah.
Okay, all right, all the way from Italy. We're going to learn some things about. Simone specializes in beautiful, beautiful hand tools. Maybe you've heard of the product Comey. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Comey.
Yeah. Usually Americans, they say Comey, and for us, it looks familiar anyway. Comey tools is fine.
How do you say it?
We say Come.
Comey.
Come. Yeah.
And what does that mean?
So it's an acronym standing for Costruzioni Meccaniche. That means mechanical constructions. Why? Because tools are made by machineries. So
Okay.
that's the clue.
Okay. Okay. And
It's
then
not made by hand, but through mechanical process.
and these tools, were they originally? I guess we'll jump into it. Why not? I have a lot of questions. I got to meet Simone at Build 25. We started talking a little bit because Dieter reached out to me a little while ago, and we started. And for whatever reason, Dieter's been following Fresco Harmony stuff. You are, I guess we could start with the North America. You are looking to promote Comay products more in the United States and North America. Why the sudden move to do that?
So lately, I mean, US has been historically a good market for us, but mainly focused on Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, and California, and extremely focused on travels for Venetian. So it's a niche of a niche, you know.
Okay.
But nowadays, there has been like emerging demand for micro topping trowels, acrylic plasters, but for the North American, the king is drywall. So
Yeah.
and we do produce drywall tools as well and rendering tools. So most of the time, a drywaller use a Venetian to complete like a wall or to do like a splashback without calling a Venetian applicator. So a drywaller is able to do a splashback anyway.
Okay.
So the potential is quite big. The value of a made in Italy product is highly recognized when it comes of plasters, because we live really in the crib where everything got born, you know.
I think
So
most things, right? Like, I don't want to be biased or anything, but at Italy, it's almost like, oh, these shoes are from Italy, they're good or whatever. Like high fashion, like taste, like very good taste.
it's strictly connected to taste, because if I tell you made in Italy, you don't think about aesthetic, you might think about precision, for example, you know.
Right.
So Italy is quite recognized for this taste in doing things, which doesn't mean fancy stuff. It means things done with brain, but well presentable. So we put a technique on the tools to be performing, but then we
Right.
look at the outside as well to have a nice product displayed on shelves.
Why do you think that is specific to, and obviously nice things are made in various parts of the world, it just depends, but specifically to Italy, why do you think that is, this attention to detail and taste?
I think it belongs to our history. If I think back at like Renaissance painters, which are highly recognized, just by mentioning
Yeah.
Raffaello, Donatello, Michelangelo. So
Right.
they all do amazing stuff in a very nice way. The passion for the details, if you go and have a look very close to those frames, the details is impressive. And I think it's within ourselves taking care about details when it comes of tools as well. So we have a lot of people are, this is not nice to see, but are going to emigrate outside of Italy because there's a demand of Italian engineer, because we have quite a high capacity in projects and development with a certain taste as well, which is like an Italian taste when we project stuff. And the common thought when you think about a made in Italy, you think about quality, which stands on performance and good looking. And this is what we do. I mean, we are a company which has just celebrated 60 years of history. So it's not 10 or 15, it's 60. If we are still in the market, maybe we change where we sell our travels, how we do our travels, but we do still have a market because of our history and our expertise. And we will have a market as well in the future.
Okay.
It's not a kind of company which is going to disappear in 2 years unless you
Right.
do like really a mess.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with how much I see you traveling all over. Comay has been on my radar now for a little while. I've known about the products and the company, and I've always admired the from afar. I thought it was specifically plaster, but it's not. You guys are creating more diversity. It's interesting because my son was just asking about the Mona Lisa. He was asking, why is the Mona Lisa so good? Why do people like it so much? And this touches on exactly what we're talking about right now, which is that
Yeah.
it's interesting to me. In your words, why would you say the Mona Lisa is so popular a painting?
I think it's not just because of that frame itself, but on the capacity of Leonard, because he was a painter, an architect,
Hmm.
an engineer. He was like a multi-purpose genius. So
Hmm.
anything he would have done would have been really perfect and amazing, you know?
Yeah. I told him like Leonardo was an inventor. He was he was a very intelligent like scientist. Let's go back to
Yeah.
the history. Let's go back to the
Yeah.
history. Is this a company that you took over? So maybe your father started Comet back in the day. How did that come to be?
Okay. The story is quite curious and
Okay.
funny. So
Good.
the company started in 1964
Okay.
as a manufacturer of trowels, but in the place there was a radiant company, and the old patron produced not trowels, but their business before 64 was dishwashing machines. So
Okay.
nothing to do with that. But he
Okay.
was a genius because they were handmade as well. And then, we were just after like in the full industrial development after the Second World War. He got this signal from the market that building and construction was about to become a huge thing. And so the very first product he developed was not a Venetian, of course. It was like a bricklaying tools.
Okay.
So something that you pick out mortar and you put it on the brick. Then, by the word of mouth, with this this capacity to produce brick trowels became more and more famous. We started to do local events and then more international events. This up to the late 80s. We only produced construction tools. But at a certain time, when you build up a walls, it came that you need to refine the walls, the interior, or even the exteriors. And so he said to himself, why don't you create like a trowel that we can like do interior design, like plastering? Okay. And so we started developing the stainless steel trowels to do like Venetian. This was the early 90s.
Was he like a plaster guy though?
No, he was a pure mechanical engineer.
It seems like you would have to know a little bit about like the Venetian plaster style though to develop because these tools are really specific to the medium of the various mediums of
Yeah.
Venetian plaster.
You got to know that we do not invent anything because our job is to be a manufacturer. So everything that we have created is because we have listened to the call of the market. So really there were people knocking the doors and say, would you be able to take a piece of steel and transform it into a blade, with a hood, with a handle and with a blade?
Yeah.
And then we start doing the projects. Everything came from the
Cool.
bottom because you need to listen. I mean, I can do very nice and fancy trowels, but if they are useless, what's the use of it?
Yeah.
Like you told me, hey guys, why don't you do like a flex trowel, no black marks? I cannot. I can maybe nowadays I can invent something like that, but if it doesn't come from you, how can I wake up a day and say, hey guys, let's do a flex travel today? It doesn't work like
Okay.
that.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
that philosophy stemmed from the beginning of the company. It was a
Yeah.
manufacturing company and you guys listened to the consumer.
Yeah. And all the machineries we have at the time were really big machineries, heavy machine, dirty, noisy machines, all, and they were all in the head of the patron. So there were no drones, no written projects. He built up everything on his brain, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But it comes the time that those machines become old to be up, and you need to be updated.
Yeah.
And so we did really a revolution. Like in the year 2011, we dismantled completely the old machinery. Completely, we
Okay.
were we were out of price because they were really expensive. All the projects. We need robots, not handmade machineries. We need robots to
Okay.
do things perfect and quick.
I mean, let's talk about Simone more, maybe your involvement with the company. Do you
Yeah.
you've been there since the start?
So there were these two patrons, a brother and a sister.
Okay,
Okay, and
wait,
they
for
have been,
our North American audience too, when you say patron, you mean boss.
yeah, two bosses, two brothers,
Yep.
a woman and a man,
Okay.
and they lived in the company since they died. I mean, in 2010 and 2011, they passed away. They were not married, so and they don't have any children. And the only people who could inherit were two brothers, but they were two priests, and one sister who was a nun. So it's quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, they were not like common priests. One was like a university teacher in psychology, and the other one was an archbishop. So they were quite valued priests. And they did a smart choice because when in this region, when the boss passed away, 99% the company closed.
Okay.
And they didn't want the company to close because at the time there were like 20 families working inside the companies.
Okay.
So they called someone from the outside to do like a checkup of the company and see if there is a real potential to stay alive.
Yeah.
And so they called an engineer. He made the checkup and he saw there was still potential, but we needed to complete change the company and invest in automation and changing people and hire skilled people. So people who has a graduation, who has like a high school degrees or university degrees. So very skilled people.
Okay.
They
Who,
don't
wait,
do
wait,
anything.
who is that engineer?
He was the previous managing director before me.
Okay.
So he ran the company until 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I've been sales manager during all this time, but I talked a little bit later about my figure.
Yeah.
And so we did this huge investment. We are talking about like a 3 million euro investments on machineries. And for a small company whose revenue was like 1.5 million, it means double the revenue of the company in investments. But luckily, banks were really trustful on us. They trust us a lot, and they lend the money to us to do this investment, and we
Yeah,
repaid
because
them
because you
completely
got the priests and the
because
nuns.
yeah,
They trust them.
we yeah, they still come here on Monday to bless the company, but
Yeah, and you got God. You got God like
yeah.
watching out, is watching out.
No, actually, the priest, they put some money on it, but the most important thing is the trust the bank had because we were able to put all this investment. And how were we able to convince the banks? We had a market. The market was more than a guarantee to them to be repaid
Okay.
in time. So I started here in 2007 as a warehouse boy.
Okay.
So the company is not mine. My father, my grandpa work here as a normal employee as well.
Okay.
I started as a summer job to catch some money as a warehouse guy. But this was really important to me because I have had the chance to see how the tools are made and built. And this is a great advantage for a person who is going to become a sales manager. Start first in production before going and sell, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Learn
Yeah,
everything you
learn.
can.
So I started as a summer job, as I said, but of course I was still studying. I've studied foreign languages, so I just came here 3 or 4 months during summer, just to get some money.
Wait, why foreign languages?
I'm passionate of foreign languages.
Neat.
Love it.
And
And
what
honestly, because I really wanted to know an American woman to stay with me. So I said, I need to
I
learn a
knew
very
it.
good English.
I knew it. I knew it. It's all it always comes
And it's
back
me
to a
like
woman.
that. It's me like that. I tell you later. So I studied massively English. But to do a graduation, you also need to study other two languages. So I've studied Spanish, German, and French. So I can speak
Ah,
fluent these four languages as well. But English is my
r-
favorite one.
why
Uh,
why is English your favorite?
uh, because when you are in high school, besides of the language, which I really like, I love the English culture and folklore, habits and costumes. This is part of literature that you are mandatory to study when you do a foreign language. And I was really passionate of, I don't know, US. This is something that is within myself. I love the US.
Okay.
Besides all the negative aspects, I love people and how easy they are to approach. We are so strict-minded. I'm always amazed when I come there, and if you go in the washroom, people tell you, "Hey, how you doing?" This is something that it will never happen in Italy. Everybody's asking how you doing. It's
People,
so
well, it depends. I think different cultures, people are pretty friendly. I found in Mexico, people are very friendly. And then in different parts of the United States, it depends. People where I'm at are pretty friendly in Albuquerque, but there's a heavy Spanish influence in
yeah,
Albuquerque, New
true.
Mexico.
Yeah, if you go to New
So
York, it's different. I know.
it might be a little different. People are a little more a little rigid. East Coast, they're more
Yeah,
rigid, and
right.
then West Coast, they're a little looser.
Yeah, but if I and another good thing is if I have to do a meeting in the US, I can go with cap and shorts. This is amazing. I don't have to go in suit and tie. So every time I go at a meeting, people look at me and I was expecting you with a shirt. No way. I said, this is my only chance to wear a cap and a short on a meeting. I would never miss it.
You probably have a phenomenal wardrobe, I would guess.
I have a lot of caps and shorts and running shoes. And this is the approach I'm trying to transmit here because it's not the way you dress, but what's here.
Yes.
I went to the bank last week and they told me, "Hey, you're sporty today." I'm always sporty. Why should I come to the bank in tie?
Right. Right. Authentic.
So I've loved the style you have and your approach. I love it
Okay.
because it's fine. I mean, this the bacon is not on the dress, you know?
Yeah. Do you know what I think that is? I think that I love it too. I love that about the United States. There's a lot that I don't like about the United States. Uh, but I think people that are from the United States are very lucky. The only problem is we don't. I think that a lot of people from the United States don't appreciate like what we have, like the passport. The United States passport is like it's like a lottery ticket. Like you can go anywhere. Yeah, people don't
Yeah.
realize it. When you're from here, you don't realize it. And I think the reason is for what you're talking about right now is because this country is founded on entrepreneurs. So
Yeah.
people that came over that were had a bag of tobacco seeds,
Mm.
and they threw caution to the wind. They spent months out at sea to get to this new land where they could do something, and that is what this country is founded on. And I think that that is still alive today in the United States.
Mm.
I was thinking about the podcast and I was like looking at somebody else's podcast and their videos are way better than mine. And I was like, I need a better background. I need a studio, I need all this stuff. But then the other part of me is like, who gives a shit? Like a lot of people listen to the podcast. So from my
Mm.
standpoint, it's always been like, if the content is good, if I'm good at asking questions, and if I can have an entertaining, that's more important than how my background looks, you know,
Yeah,
which
I
is kind
agree.
of, it's similar to building a product. And I've also heard that the market drives the product. Like you can
Yeah,
have the best product in the world, but if nobody buys it, what good is it? You know,
right, right.
you could show up in a suit. You're going to relate a lot better to especially contractors and retailers in the United States. Maybe if you're dressed down a little bit or more show up more authentically.
So, going back to myself, it was a temporary job on summertime while I was studying. And then when I finished studying, I applied for a job, but not here because there were no vacancy here, actually. And so I've worked for 7 years in a very prestigious company which produced like bicycle saddles for professional riders, mountain
Okay.
biking and cycling here in Italy for
Okay.
7 years. And at a certain time, after 7 years, was 2007, my father told me, "Hey, Simone, they are looking for someone in the office, just doing like documents, blah, blah, this kind of stuff. So you need to speak a little bit Spanish, a little bit of English. You want to come and have like a talk?" And so I came and I started as a normal employee in the office, taking care like of orders, sending confirmation, nothing special. And then I start growing, knowing the customers. I started to go to some trade shows. So getting confident with people, because this
Yeah.
kind of job, my job is everything about relationships.
Hmm.
And honestly, I love talking to people and I love different cultures. So this has been a really great advantage for me.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I became a sales manager of the company and I started traveling a lot. And the great advantage we have to in comparison to our competitors is that we really do travel a lot. I mean, I've been in such tiny towns that nobody would ever go, like going to Dieter in Regina in Saskatchewan. Who's going to go there with
Yeah.
minus 73? Nobody. But I've been in Finland, like very close to Santa Claus to visit a customer. I've been in the most desperate places. Nobody will go there. People just stop at the trade shows and that's all. But you need to follow up. If you show up, people say, "Hey, do you know what? This guy came here all the way from Italy just to
Yeah.
see me." So, yeah. And we found out it was really good. I went through more successful business going door to door than going to trade shows.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because when you go at a trade show, it's like fishing. You just wait there at the booth. But when you go to a customer, you go there for him. You are there for him.
Right.
And when you put the travels on the table, you see the customers start becoming passionate, like doing questions. Wow, this is amazing. Can we do this? Can we go that? Can I do the logo, the color? And you get in touch so intimate with him. And this is real passion for the work, you
Yeah.
know? And I
I
love this.
noticed I noticed at your booth, you guys were pretty chill.
Yeah.
You were a real flashy salesman. But is that your strategy? Maybe when you're at a booth like Build 25, you wait for people to sort of be attracted to the trowels, or is it just the way you are?
Well, the booth we have at the build was awful, actually.
Oh, off.
No, no,
Why? Why? You didn't like it?
because this is not the way we display when we go to European show or when we go to Dubai. We
Okay.
are completely, totally different. Extremely nice booth with logos and a lot of marketing, a lot of nice stuff. But for the thing that I think Americans don't pay too much attention at how you look like, but more how the tool is. The tool is. I don't want to invest too much money on the booth itself. I prefer just bringing displays and show how deep is the range.
Yeah.
That's why I've never invested too much, but we might change our strategy. Dieter said we should do some nice thing as well. So probably in the next years we are going to do even a
I
better
think it
show.
I think in that market it sets you apart because people have really watered down booths at those
Mhm.
shows. There is no sexiness in drywall. It's like it's a real there's nothing flashy, maybe artistic. This is why I think there's such an interesting crossover between the plaster, the Venetian plaster and all of this and the fresco harmony, these specialty wall finishes, these beautiful trowels, and then you've got ugly drywall. They're like two different, sides of the spectrum, and you and I both have sort of crossover products that
Yeah,
are
right.
trying to bridge that gap.
So as I said, I became like the sales guy, the
Yeah.
sales manager. Yeah. But on the other hand, the managing director was about to retire because of his age. And so it has come the time to think about who is going to follow up. And at this time, like 3 years ago, I'm the oldest guy in the company. All the others are much younger than me. The average is like 33 today in the
Okay.
company. So very young
Oh,
people. I'm
wow.
40, I'm 46.
Yeah, you're
And so
young.
I was the only one having the complete knowledge and the expertise to bring on the company. And so I've been through like 2 years of co-working with the previous director just to get more financial informations, just to get trained, dedicated training as well. And since 2 years, I'm the one holding it
Well,
and
yeah,
moving
but
on.
was there like a vetting process where, you wanted that job?
No,
And did
I
they
didn't want
pick
this job.
you?
I didn't want to be
Okay.
managing director. In my dreams, when he retired, I was hoping to have another one coming in the place. And they said, no way, because you are in the company, you leave the company, you are one of the shareholders.
Did you become a shareholder when you were sales manager?
I became much when I was much younger. When the bosses passed away, we needed to put money in the company as well. And so some people working in the company have been asked to become shareholders. So today
Okay.
we are four major shareholders
Okay.
who has the majority of the sharings. So yeah, more than 10 years that I'm a shareholder. And
Okay.
yeah, but today as a managing director, I cannot take care about everything like I did before. I can't follow up sales completely because I have financials, I have production, I have research,
Yeah.
development. And so I've decided to keep, because I want to keep North America, Australia, New Zealand, and UK, my favorite countries, my English speaking countries. So
Right.
I want to leave US and North America to me because for me, I cannot live without this. All the rest is moving to Romina, who is the nice lady who was with me
Hmm.
at the show that you met her.
Yeah.
I'm still training her. She's really good, but she needs train. And there are some territories that she cannot go, like Middle East or Central Africa. I would never ask her to go there. So
Okay.
I will go here in case. But we are still, so two people doing sales today, me and her.
Crazy.
It's been crazy, but nice for me personally. It's been a great success because I would have never expected to cover this position, and I still have like 20 years working in the company before I retire, so I have a lot to give.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all this changing in people, it's fun because it corresponding to a change in products. If I look back in the days, in the 90s, we only have like five trowels. You can do everything with a trowel.
Okay.
Everything. Why having a wide range? Just with one Venetian, you can do whatever you want inside a house. But
Right.
this was not the key. I mean, how can I move forward? So today we have different tools for different application, different thicknesses for different materials, different tools if you have to do ceilings, walls, and floors. This has been the strategic key. So we do not sell any more trowels. We sell the solution to your problem. Do you have to
Oh, I
do a
like that.
floor? This is the trowel. Do you have to do a curved ceilings? Then you buy a curved trowel. This is how we sell today.
Okay. All right. That's very cool. And then you have one question I was going to ask. We can talk about the specifics behind the tools. It's pretty cool. But when I look at your catalog, I'm pretty ignorant about the what different the different metals and the different specificities of the tools because I was just doing drywall and then I was like, oh, okay, well, we can color the mud and I'm gonna keep it simple. My
Yeah.
whole plan was like, let's make beautiful walls really fast and simple, just like production. But with that, I was like, oh, you can use any trowel. But and I've been doing it for 20 years. But the longer I do it, I'm like, oh, okay, like the black marks thing. Like, why the
Yeah.
hell does this steel not leave the black marks, but this steel does? And then why have like stainless versus spring
Mm.
steel versus gold versus why all of the different steel? So there's a couple of questions there, but maybe you can
Yeah.
answer.
Well, the no black marks has been really a challenge, but I'll talk later about this. So, still today, the company is split it between construction and decoration tools. When I say construction, it means like bricklaying tools. Believe it or not, every market has its own patterns. So I cannot sell in the Netherlands the same shape I sell in the US because masons have different tastes. So we have 78 different patterns. If you think about Belgium, such a tiny country, they have 5 different patterns, shapes of brick trowels. In the US, you have London narrow, wide narrow, Philadelphia, bucket, so many different shapes as well. So we need to be specific if you want to satisfy a market. And thanks God, we have all these laser cutting machines and we can cut any shape. I mean, if you want something butterfly shape, we do it, no
Cool.
problem.
Yeah.
But for the trowels and the Venetian, it's more challenging because there are so many types of stainless, so many types of carbon steel that can work good or not with a certain coat. So we need to put it on the field and try them. So every time
Yeah.
it takes 7, 8 months of tests to see which steel is perfect for the purpose.
Yeah, well, like we're talking about using a blade, but I'm like, man, I have this blade that I use. I've been using it a long time. I've tried a lot of different blades. This is the blade I like. I don't know why. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. This is just what I like. This is what I like to use. And I've tried the thinner steels. I like the thicker steel, like all of that stuff. Like, I don't want to say ignorant in that because I've tried a lot of different blades. I don't know why I like certain blades, but I can tell you exactly what I like. So I know what I like. But one criticism has been the black marks on the lighter, even with
Mm.
stainless and regular steel. You still get the black marks.
Uh, uh, yeah, I agree. For example, we have different thicknesses of the blade. So you cannot use the same blade when you do like a 7 layer finishing on a Venetian plaster while you are doing one coat acrylic plaster, maybe with a viscosity, with a certain viscosity, low viscosity material. They need a flexible blade, for example. But if you do a thick coat, you need a different blade. It must be rigid. So you can't use the same thickness. Not today. I mean, even plasters, they evolved so much that you need really specific tools. And we
Right.
receive very specific inquiries from customers.
Okay.
We need a steel like this and a thickness like that. I don't care if it rusts. So they give us hints, okay?
Yeah.
But for the no black marks, it was really a challenge because there is no stainless steel that doesn't leave
Hmm.
any black marks. No stainless steel. I
Okay.
know the name is stainless, so doesn't give stain. But within the steel, there is some particles that leave steel, that leave rust, even on the stainless.
Hmm.
So the only thing to skip this is to cover the steel with a very resistant material. And we discover that chromium was the ideal one, a thick chromium layer laid on a stainless steel blade. Yeah,
Chromium sounds cool.
it is because chromium is very easy to clean when you do the job. Every applicator cleans, a professional one cleans the blade
Yeah.
very quick, just water, nothing, just water. And when you put a chrome plated blade on the wall, it flows like silk very quickly. So make things quicker. Time is money.
Yeah.
But most of all, doesn't leave really any black marks. Whether you use an acrylic, a mineral, a micro topping, and a resin, because I needed a product which works with everything, not
Yeah.
only with plaster, everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't last forever because it depends on the material you use. One can last 3 months, another
Okay.
one can last 2 years. So we have different types of no black marks. That's why I always ask, what do you need it for? Micro topping, acrylic, resins, how many layers? And then we can address you to the proper one.
Okay. Right.
This is something that go really in the chemistry of the steel.
Okay.
It
Okay.
penetrates. It
Okay.
penetrates. So you can't remove it with sanding paper. It's so
Okay.
fixed. And the treatment is not, it's made by immersion. And once the blade is in, the emulsion, we put a very high electricity voltage. So the chromium sticks and goes inside and can't go out.
Cool.
You don't see the difference aesthetically. It looks like a normal blade. You don't see any difference,
Okay.
but there is. We are talking about micron
Yeah.
of
I love
layer.
it.
You don't
I
see.
love it. And are you using this technology for drywall tools as well?
No, it's no need, but
Okay.
we discovered that some European manufacturer of soundproofing system panels or for the insulation panels, they want a trowel that doesn't leave any black marks. When they connect the panels and they put the white plaster, they
Hmm.
don't want a headache. So they want to buy a trowel that works immediately. And so we have started selling no black marks even to drywallers.
Sure.
And
Why
this was
not?
quite surprising, but good
I don't
because the
think
market is much
drywallers,
bigger.
yeah, drywallers won't, they'll spare no expense to have a premium trowel, I think.
Yeah,
I think a drywaller will spend more on a really, really good trowel. They're using, especially up in Canada. There's a lot of drywallers in the United States have the knives, but I assume you could use the same technology for
yeah,
a
yeah.
knife, a 10-inch, 12-inch, 14-inch knife.
It's important for us. I mean, I would love to sell no black marks every day because I would become rich very quicker. You know, the cost is very high. But
Right,
this is not correct. I tell my customer, you don't have to spend 3 times a trowel if you don't really need it. If you have to do like a black Venetian, don't take a no black marks, for
right,
example. You don't
right.
need it. Why do you have to spend that? But people are crazy and they spend it anyway. It's like the,
I would rather have one expensive trowel than several cheap trowels. I would rather have one
I
really
agree
good
also.
trowel,
I agree. I agree also. But I was surprised also. because the problem of black marks is has been really a problem for years. People turn to plastic trowel to finish walls, which sounds like so disposable to me. How can a
Hmm.
pro applicator turn to a plastic to finish a wall?
Hmm.
They needed a metal trowel, not a plastic. That's why this was
That's
my
funny.
purpose. I need a metal trowel. But the treatment cost like 3 times a normal trowel, and I was worried if an applicator would have spent for that. And when I discovered that, for example, in Australia, they pay $400 per square meters, who cares about spending $100 of a trowel?
Right.
It's nothing. Because if you ruin a wall, you have to do from the beginning. So
Yeah.
it's massive. They don't care about spending $100.
No, no. I think you told me the price of the theoretical, trial that we've been discussing, and I was like, dude, I don't care. But I too
Yeah.
use a plastic blade for the sealer, or stainless, but I like the
Mm.
plastic because our sealer is acrylic, so it's a
Oh, yeah.
water-based acrylic. It'll rust
So
metal.
easy and flex to use. Yeah.
Easy and flexible. Yeah. So I like the plastic trout. Then I could just toss it, get a new one. But I like them when they're worn in a little bit, but
Oh,
there's
yeah,
no
right.
reason there's definitely some type of thin gauge. And I use a knife. I use a trowel and
Hmm.
a knife, which is also unique. A lot of plaster guys maybe won't use a knife, and a lot of drywall guys won't use a trowel. They use a pan and knife. But recently, I learned that some of the finishers, like the French Canadian finishers, they'll use a trowel and a knife, scoop it out, put it on the
Yeah.
wall. It's kind of cool.
Also, yeah, there are so many different styles, really.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes it's driving me nuts because it's
yeah,
never finished. Never finished. You
yeah,
think to discover something which has solved all the problems, and then comes up someone
yeah.
that wants something different. But this is also challenging and nice, for me.
Yeah, are you of the opinion that you are more geared towards catering to the client no matter what versus, oh, we're going to have a set amount of tools? It seems like that. It seems like you're creating products for the consumer, like truly for the consumer versus like we're going to have this line of tools. This is this is what it's going to look like. You're really listening to your audience.
So, of course, when I go to customers, I open on the table my catalog because that's my standard production. But if I think about what I do in 1 year in terms of items which are not in the catalogs, you won't believe it.
I'm
We do
sure.
so many things outside the standard, which is really driving me crazy. I mean, at a certain point, you need to listen to the customer. I'm trying to correct them and drive them to what we have standard just to have less headache. But, the customer rules. So sometimes we need to like lay down on our knees and say, okay, but you have to pay because this is something really unusual for us and I do it for you. I can do it, but I do it for you.
I love that. I love that. That's
Luckily,
really fantastic.
we are a 22 people company, so we are a very very small company. And this is the great advantage because we are so flexible. Nobody can drive a private label program just asking for 60 pieces, 60 units. And I do it with any color you want, any logo you want, with any packaging you want, just 60 units. Anybody would ask you hundreds of pieces.
That is a
But this is our
fantastic,
secrets.
that's a pretty fantastic offer. So if there's a company out there, even like a smaller company, they want a branded trowel, you guys will do that.
Yeah. 50% of our business is still private labeling. So it's a
Easy.
big part. And there's also a strategic reason because uh, we are a manufacturer. So I don't have the power to do really strong marketing activities because this is not my job. I don't do marketing. I'm a manufacturer. So I
Yeah.
prefer let the customer doing that, not me.
Yeah.
I produce for you, do whatever you want, but the marketing is yours.
Smart. Man, so where are we going to go from here? Where are we going to go?
I want to do the travel for you.
Oh yeah, I guess you know what? I guess we can discuss it. You know what? I'm like a negative Nelly when it comes to like this type of thing though. So we I have not announced yet or anything that Simone and Dieter was cool enough. He's like, we want to make a trowel. And we have been in conversation about Kome doing a specific Fresco Harmony trowel. And I've been telling these guys what I use. And so I've gotten an opportunity to go down this private labeling path,
Yeah.
which has been really interesting. I still have to try the trowel though, man. I got to use it. I want it to be because I agree with like the Italian philosophy of like if I can't use it, if it doesn't work for me, then I don't want to sell it. I don't want to, I don't want to just put Fresco Harmony on something that's going to be uh, a mediocre. Like I want it to be the best trowel for Fresco Harmony that you can purchase. Like this type of thing. So and to me, it's like, oh wow, you guys are really really willing to do that. That's really super cool. Maybe from your standpoint, talk to me about why that would be an important thing for your company.
It would be important to develop something for you because you don't have a standard product. Your type of product is completely different from what we are used to do for my other customers. This is something completely new, and everything
Right.
which is new to me is very interesting. That's why it could widen up my horizon.
Yeah. And
I
you've
was really
seen,
curious about your product when you showed me at the show.
yeah, you've seen a little bit, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing. I brought
Well,
home actually some samples as well.
you got to do a wall, buddy. What do you think? I mean, it looks like looks like plaster, smells like plaster. Maybe it's
Yeah, right.
plaster. I don't know, but
Yeah.
what do you think? What's your true intuition about Fresco Harmony?
Uh, it would be nice for you if you have the power to split yourself and go to every trade shows in the
No,
world. You you will be very rich because your product is really smart. And if
right.
all the people I know will know this, they said, okay, okay, no need to do this and that. I'm more than enough with harmony. Seriously, boy, your
Thank you.
product is amazing and so
Thank you.
easy. So easy because it looks like a plaster.
Stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's that kind of stupid that amazed me.
That's it's American stupid.
Yeah, right.
Like why? Yeah, and if you
That's
don't,
pure marketing, Nick. That's pure marketing, your product.
yes. Yeah. Well, and the podcast, I mean, it's been a combination of things, but it's so challenging, as you know, in the drywall space. I tell people, well, if it was like a tech, if it was a new app or something, like it
Yeah.
would be, I would have people throwing money. But since we're in drywall, it's like, what, or let's see how it does, or nah, we don't need to change. We've been doing it this way for a long time.
Mm.
It's weird because it seems like in Europe, which is ironic, but people have been more open, you know
Mm,
versus
true.
United States, which has been more closed. And that might be a challenge for Kome coming into a North American market, especially in America,
Yeah.
is maybe a little bit more resistant. But you guys
Yeah.
make such beautiful tools, and I think that it's going to be embraced by the drywall companies. You're already starting to branch out with some of the influencers a little bit. Um, where are you seeing success right now in North America with your marketing? I know Dieter's been doing like there's something about that guy. I don't know what it is, but like he's
There's
pretty
really
smart.
something because, yeah, he's so convinced about our success in the drywall industry that I'm really amazed. He's putting his own money on
Yeah.
it. I said, Dieter, I can't support you on the marketing. I don't have the money to support you. It's fine. It's fine. I will be reimbursed 10 times higher than this. I'm sure about it. He's so
Yeah.
sure about
Yeah.
our tools and the customer he is targeting. I'm amazing. I'm amazed, really.
Yeah.
And I was surprised because I was trying to find more and more customer in the Venetian. And talking with Dieter said, yeah, but Venetian will always remain a niche. North America is a drywall country. And I was surprised how easily I can sell my drywalls, which for me are just peanuts. I mean, normal stainless. And I can sell them in North
Right.
America. And this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is amazing.
But like if you're
How?
selling, and that's sort of the same philosophy with I think between plaster and fresco harmony is like, okay, well, I'm gonna sell this bucket of plaster for, $300. Well, I'm like, well, I make less by selling a color pack that's only maybe $20 or $25. But if I sell an entire house of color packs, well, then
Yeah.
you're doing more volume. You're making more money off of a more cost-effective product, right?
Yeah.
Like,
We have quite a good bunch of customers. We are going to finalize in the next month chains of stores. So people who have the capacity to import from Italy. I cannot serve stores, of course, but these guys really do. So I'm really satisfied with the massive job Dieter is doing. Uh,
yeah,
he found out a network of ambassadors who are ready to display Comey. And he found out so many people who are on Instagram and have like 15,000 followers, who
hmm,
are going to start talking about Comey massively.
yeah,
So his strategy is to let the market talk about Comey so that distributor will knock at the door because they start hearing more and more and more applicator asking about Comey, where
yeah,
can I find? So this is
yeah.
how we are going to make it.
And hopefully, the Drywall podcast also helps with that effort. We have more and more followers and listeners all the time. This is an interesting conversation because you're a tool manufacturer. We have, people that do drywall that are curious about these questions. Hopefully, it's entertaining. It's a little bit off of the normal podcast that I do, but this has been tremendously informational and educational for me. You're great to talk to. Your English is fantastic, by the way. It's really good.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm jealous. I'm super jealous that you speak all of those languages. I would love to be able to speak more languages. Italian and Spanish, though, that doesn't seem like it's impressive, but that doesn't seem like as tough a jump as like maybe Italian and English.
Italian and Spanish are very similar
Right.
in
Yeah.
terms of languages.
Yeah.
Lifestyle is completely different, but
Yeah.
languages,
Yeah.
they are more relaxed, more relaxed. We
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
we work 10 to 12 hours a day. Spanish not.
Yeah. Not so much. Maybe two to three. They call you know what they call it? New Mexico, the land of manana. I'll do it.
Ah,
I'll do it tomorrow.
tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
here not. We stay here.
Yeah, I know a little
But
bit of Spanish. It's probably the best. I know more Spanish than any other
yeah.
language. I read a book about Italy though. One book called The Miracle of Castel de Sangro. Are you familiar with that story about soccer club Castel de
No,
Sangro?
no, I've heard, but I'm not familiar.
Mm. It was pretty good, but I learned a little bit of Italian in that book. But very cool. Simone
Yeah,
Chesson
check-in, check-in,
checking
like check-in at the
checking.
gates.
I'm gonna check
Check-in.
in. We're
Yeah.
gonna check back in with Simone check-in. I like it. Of Kome tools. One thing I do ask all of the people. Oh, I was gonna ask you if you've listened to the Drywall podcast at all. What do you think?
I haven't listened to it so far, but I will. Of course, I will join. Of course.
Are you a podcast person? Do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah. Yeah. I've used a lot of podcasts to learn English. I mean, anything that
Oh
helped me
yeah,
to improve my English is
yeah.
being so helpful. But yeah, this is something that really interests me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Definitely.
this particular podcast or podcasts in general.
This particular.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's a
This
couple of
particular.
episodes I could recommend to you that you might enjoy, like other tool manufacturing, Joe
Hmm.
Koenig with Trim Tex,
Trim text.
Bernie St. James with Columbia Tools.
Yeah.
That's an interesting story.
Yes.
It's very cool. I love talking with company owners that are like developing these products and coming up with products. Um, as a product manufacturer, it's interesting to me. I was going to ask you what do you have your sights set on next? Is there anything in the pipeline that is exciting to you that you might want to bring up or talk about?
Uh, so right at this moment, we are going to launch in the next 3 months two new no black marks travel,
Okay.
two new no black marks products. So
Okay.
putty knife, a putty knife, and a corner trowel because many people are asking corners. So and this is good. And then a couple of fancy trowels. We call it flute in and flute out, specifically for the US. This is a market request. There's a high demand on this. We call it flute. So it's a very wavy surface in bas relief and opposite as well to create a specific effect. We are going to launch it really soon.
Cool.
Florida, New York, and Los Angeles are asking for this product.
Okay.
I need to share with you some pictures of the effects, but it's really cool because architects are asking for that. It's for very thick materials, though, very thick
Okay.
materials.
And
And then
it creates like a relief.
yeah, but it's round,
Okay.
semi-round. It's like a bamboo forest
Okay. Cool.
to create like the column, the pillars. You know the Greek pillars, how they are
Oh
made,
yeah.
but on flat surface. So bas relief and opposite.
Cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really cool. It's
Very
really
cool.
cool.
All right.
Really cool.
All right. Well, look for
And
the flute in, flute out. I like the name too.
yeah, yeah, the products are ready. We are photo shooting right now. We are going to launch it. Um, and other stuff to come, but I prefer to keep it because we haven't started deeply the test. So I don't have a deadline so far.
Okay. Okay.
We are going then to get a certification uh, on the wooden handle. So starting from July, everything made in wood is coming from sustainable forests. So this is a specific
Good.
certification called FSC, and we're going to get it by the end of July.
What type of wood?
Any type of wood we use for the handles is
Okay.
going to come from sustainable forests,
Okay. That's cool.
and this is good. And we have just completed our roofing system, so we are 100% independent through solar energy. So everything is produced here. And we
Fantastic.
produce so much that we can sell it as well.
Beautiful. That's
So we are
beautiful.
green. We are quite
Yeah.
green.
Well, and if you're not 100% green, you're moving in that direction,
Yeah.
which I think is beneficial to the planet. It's good to be conscious about waste. And then a pearl of wisdom that you can give to the drywall plaster community, manufacturing community on a global scale. What would you say if you could put something really brilliant on a billboard?
Uh, okay. I have a I have two. One is a personal one. Always listen to your wife because she might give you really good hints.
That might be my favorite. That might be my favorite pearl of all time, right there. Listen to your wife, idiots.
Yeah. And the second one is never never be afraid to ask for something crazy because sometimes what is crazy can seriously turns into something that people really need. So there has been a couple of items that at the very beginning I said nobody would never use this. Nobody. This is shit. No
Yeah.
success, nothing. But it turns out completely the opposite. We started doing and selling hundreds and then thousands. And I'm talking about a piece of plastic which create a patterns on a wall. This is just an example.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be good to filter all the requests. But if you are a drywaller and you have a need, just get in touch with a company like us and propose us your idea. Because if your idea is rough, we could come out and refine it and bring up to the market a star, something that really works.
I love
So
that.
ask, don't be afraid, ask. If it's something, if it's a shit, okay, it's just junk. But it matters to ask. Then we see what we can do, but don't be afraid to ask.
I love that. I love that, Simone. And I would love to see your shop. So we have a trip planned coming in September to go over to Swindon, England, and it would be fantastic to meet you guys. And or if you could come to that event that's happening at GWI in Swindon, that would be super cool. But if that wasn't possible, I would love to come to Italy and see your shop. And I've never
Oh,
been to Italy.
okay, you gotta come here anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I would love it.
Yeah, you're gonna get like a free gondola ride.
Well, that's good. I love gondolas. We have a gondola here in Albuquerque, New Mexico as well.
Really?
Yeah. They say it's the biggest one in North America, the longest span.
Ah,
Yeah.
I thought Albuquerque was famous for the balloon festival.
We got the balloons, Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Aliens somewhere.
Yeah, there's aliens for sure. Area 51. This has been
Yeah.
fantastic. Simone with
Okay.
Kameh since 1964. I know you are a busy person. Thank you so much for coming on the Drywall podcast today. We will be in touch. Look out for the Fresco Harmony trowel coming soon and some other cool stuff from Kameh in North America. If are you open to people following you on the social media? I know, but maybe
Yeah.
you've got a personal social media that I follow you on. This guy travels all over. He's not just talking. I see him. He's traveling. He's doing cool stuff. He's very passionate about his product. What would you recommend if people want to find out about Comey? Where should they go?
So at the moment we don't have a very cool web page, which is gonna be ready by December, the new website. So working on a new website.
Okay.
Dieter is running our LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, the
Okay.
official page, but the most active is my personal profile as Simone Comey, and we have TikTok and Instagram as well. So there you can follow my travels and pictures and trade shows that I post time by time.
Cool. And you've just started to post stuff on the Instagram, so be sure to go follow Kome on Instagram, and you can see some of these cool new tools that are coming out. Sure. Excellent. We covered everything. So nice to talk to you, sir. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day. And we'll talk soon.
Okay, cool, Nick. I'll be in touch for the travel for sure.
All right, sir. You have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Same to you. Bye.
Huge shout out to Simone. Check-in. It's a tough one because it's CECCHIN. Check-in. It's such a tricky one for me to say. Thank you so much, sir. I definitely want to come to Italy. I want to check out that factory. It is stupendous, and I am beyond the moon excited about the new Fresco Harmony Kome trowel that is coming out. Stay tuned for more on that and this growing relationship with this phenomenal company. Also, huge shout out to Tape Tech for sponsoring the Drywall Podcast in the month of June. It's because of sponsors like Tape Tech and listeners just like you that make this podcast possible, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This month we're highlighting some badass skimming blades, and we might be giving away a free set towards the end of the month, so stay tuned for that. Go over to the Drywall Podcast Instagram page and towards the end of the month, and we'll have some information on that. If you want to learn more about Tape Tech, head over to tapetech.com or check out their social media pages. If you're not running Tape Tech premium knives yet, give them a try. These things are the real deal, and your work will show it. Have you ever dreamed about becoming drywall famous? Well, now you can. If you would like to come on the Drywall Podcast and tell your story, you can email me at info@frescoharmony.com. I would love to hear from you. Guests of the Drywall Podcast get a sweet swag bucket from our friends at CSR, so maybe that will sweeten the deal a little bit. If you're nervous and unsure, just do it. It's a lot of fun, and I want to meet you. I know you have a lot of choices when you pick something to listen to on the job site or on the road. I appreciate the fact that you chose the Drywall Podcast today. I hope that you have an amazing weekend, and remember, keep drywalling.